Clothing, shoes, phones, cars, and so much more, including Bettas, have trends. With that said, what do you think will be the next latest and greatest Betta in 2022? Hi, my name is Lee, and I've been breeding Bettas for the past 29 years. Almost all aquarium fishes can be bred to change coloration, finnage, or characteristic, but you won't find any other freshwater fish that are bred to change as much as Betta splendens. Because of this, there's always new Bettas being developed by breeders. Whether it's different color patterns, fin types, or sizes, it never stops evolving in the hobby. Let's take a step back into time and look at some of the most popular splendens in this hobby. Pre-1950s, Betta hobbyists were only familiar with short-tail or round-tail splendens. Most were dull with a little green or red. As my father did, they bred these rice paddy plackets in his homeland of Laos and Thailand to battle each other in bowls. They were seeking for the most ferocious, the larger the head, the larger the mouth, to yield a larger bite. According to my father, after the Vietnam War settled and technology reached Southeast Asia, farmlands took over many Betta habitats, leaving wild Bettas almost to extinction. The hobby shifted in the 80s to a more conservative and wild protection mind frame. It was during this time period that foreigners from US and Europe brought back a new Betta called Betta Veiltail. Actually, it's not a new Betta, but a placket splendens bred to have a longer flowy tail. Breeders in Asia enhanced the coloration, which helped open the hobby up to more markets. More and more people came into the hobby for the beauty and no longer for the fighting. Veiltails was the coolest Betta during that time period. Simultaneously, a Betta with two tails appeared into the hobby. Rumor has it that this deformed Betta came from India, but I have no signs to back that up. All I recall was that breeders were seeking to own a few. Today, we call this Betta the double tail. I know that most of you watching my videos aren't from America, and know that I really appreciate your support. In the early 90s, large pet chain stores like Walmart, Petco, PetSmart, and Chewy.com did not exist. We were lucky if we had a Kmart in town, so those of us in the States relied heavily on family-owned aquarium stores and local clubs to get exotic Bettas. Stores also had transshipping licenses and wholesale contracts, so it just made sense to buy Bettas from them. I remember the first time I saw a delta butterfly. By the way, a delta is just a half moon. It's just different words used in different countries. So I had heard about butterflies, but never seen one. When I laid eyes on one, I fell in love with it. I was so amazed of how solid the colors were and how the colors split so finely on the fins. I mean, the dorsal, caudal, and even the anal fins were all symmetrical. Butterflies were going for $25 each in the 90s. That, my friends, was a lot of money. Half moons were the Bettas to have then. While some are breeding to enhance the fins, others were breeding for different solid colors. In the 90s, hobbyists in the States began to see a variety of solid colors, some of the most popular being solid blue, white, and red. I never had one, but I recall the 24K plackets, which was a solid short-tailed gold Betta that came out of Vietnam. In the mid-90s, the era of the Fast and Furious, the souped-up Hondas and Toyotas as I remembered, arrived the crown-tail Betta. At a first glance, I thought it was the ugliest Betta ever until I saw a friend prepping his for an IBC contest. Its beauty is revealed only when in flaring mode, but when not, it looks like Cinderella. I'm a member of the IBC, still am, but never bred Bettas that nice to compete as he did. His Betta changed my mind about crown-tails. I still think crown-tails' popularity in the general public never got the attention it deserved. It's just more common to see a customer buy a short-tailed red Betta sitting in a cup on a store shelf over a blue Betta sitting in a cup with what looks like a torn-up tail. In the 2000s, Rosetails, Dumbos, and HMPK, which is half moon mixed with plackets, made its way into popularity. I think for the past decade, breeders have been really focusing on coloration and patterns. Some of the most popular colors we see today are Kwais, and within the Kwai genes, we see the Nemos and Galaxies. The Dragon Scales is also another popular color these days, but in my opinion, I don't think the dragon color is very stable, due to the fact that the dragon scale is actually a form of fish scale cancer. I guess as long as breeders are able to keep the scale cancer to a minimal, the fish could have a normal life expectancy. Some folks just loves collecting classic cars or antiques. Generally, those who collect these are experts or experienced hobbyists. There's just something cool about keeping a Mahachai or a Smardina or a little Hyper Embellus that darts everywhere. If you don't know, these are wild Bettas. They don't have the coolest colors, the patterns, or large fancy fins, but they are the foundation of your cool-looking Betta Splendid. I don't think it's popular and I don't think it will become popular, but I think it's worth mentioning that glow Bettas are in the market. I don't know too much about them, but that the Glowfish Company has patented this fish so that we legally cannot breed them. I've also heard that glow Bettas are blind from a reputable source. Even then, I'm just not interested in having one of those. It's always easier to see the detailed coloration in a smaller Betta because the scales are smaller and tighter. In other words, a regular Kwai placket almost will always have tighter colors than, say, a giant Kwai placket. So to end this video, my prediction for 2022 and maybe for the next 5 years is I think giant king Bettas are going to become more popular because, for one, I think most people like larger fish. If there was a fish tank with a bunch of the same fish, most likely the customer will pick the larger fish. 2. Homes are getting a lot smaller and so are tanks. We know the nano tanks is becoming more popular and having one giant Betta would look really nice in a nano tank. 3. This pandemic gave breeders time to improve the giant genes, especially the coloration. I think we're going to see some nice giants out of Cambodia. Lastly, if my predictions are correct and the supply chain of giant Bettas increase, their prices will become more affordable for everyone. Until then, Happy New Year and see you next time.